Good morning. Welcome to CSL Los Angeles. I'm Teresa. It's a beautiful day. I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue, clouds of white, bright blessed day, dark sacred night. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow are so pretty in the sky, and also on the faces of people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They really say, I love you. I hear babies cry. I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. And I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry. I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I will know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
What a spectacular affirmation to begin our service this morning, Teresa. And good morning to you.
Good morning.
And happy Sunday. It is a wonderful world, isn't it?
It's a beautiful, amazing world.
Yes, and more that we choose to believe that and participate in that at that level, the more and more we will experience it. That's really kind of the essence of my entire message that will be given later this morning, is that affirming it through our language and our energy field. So happy to share this time with you.
Ditto. I'm thrilled to be here. I can't
Good.
wait
Well,
to
I'm
hear the message.
glad you're here. So, ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between and beyond, Teresa James. So, all right, see you in just a bit. Good morning, everyone. I'm Reverend Dr. Keith Cox, and I say morning in the context of I'm joining you this morning from morning. It is not MOURNING, but MORNING. Good morning on the 21st day of September in the land of Los Angeles, California at 10:35 a.m. Pacific time. And it's my honor and privilege to share this time together with you as the Center for Spiritual Spiritual Living Los Angeles as we come together each and every Sunday morning for our Sunday morning celebration service. The purpose and the intention for our service and time together, whether you're joining us via Zoom and or YouTube Live and or at a later date watching us, is to remember who we are as divine beings, to remember that we have within us and are imbued with the energy and the qualities of the divine, and that through our thoughts and our beliefs and our actions and our reactions with life itself, just as Teresa was singing about, choosing to affirm it's a wonderful world, that we create a shift in our field of awareness, our state of mind. And because we live in a universe that is governed by spiritual law, that which we choose to be and to know and to affirm must be made manifest in our world. And so our time together today is to remind us of that, to remember that for ourselves, and to open ourselves up for a point of inspiration, to tune into the nature of spirit itself. And so wherever you may be, I affirm for you that you know and accept for yourselves that you are indeed the divine energy of all there is. We do indeed use the word God every now and then here, and the word God means to us in this philosophy, faith, and way of life that infinite, impersonal energy that is all creative, that is the source of all, and that it individualizes itself by means of you and by means of me. That we experience and express this power through our thoughts, our beliefs, our actions, our reactions, and our interactions with life itself. That as beings of life and light, we are all interconnected, and that we're interconnected through the mind of God itself, that impersonal, infinite one power that exists. And so today, I invite you to open up wherever you may be and to invite in a spiritual awakening, a recognition, a recollection, or a remembrance of who and what you are as a divine being, and let it be an awakening that propagates a new way of being. When I was drawn into this philosophy, faith, and way of life back in the early 1980s, years ago, I was drawn to the very simple statement that is a statement of Napoleon Hill, by Napoleon Hill, that is, change your thinking, change your life. It's a premise by which we live by here in this philosophy, faith, and way of life. And it is one that we invite in for that thinking to be, in its broadest sense, a new way of feeling, seeing, knowing the divine. And at its most fundamental, elemental sense is to just be open to a new perspective in life always. And so let's move into our service by honoring that and all of life itself. I'm going to go through our lighting the flames of faith today without music in the background, because it's come to my attention, and to others have addressed this during the week, that the music can be distracting sometimes. So let's try it without it. And so as we move into, it's a unique thing for me to not use the music because I've been using it for so many years. So it's a little bit, not to sound crass, but it's to feel like I'm on camera doing this without my shirt on. So here we go. All right. Lighting the flames of faith. We perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples and all faiths, all sentient beings come from the one great universal presence, which we call spirit. Fundamental to this truth is the unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here today. And so we light the first candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium known as the natural way. The candle that we light is a virtual candle, as well as we light it for the shamanic traditions, the way of primal spirituality, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples. And we light it for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion, as well as for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law, and for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion, as well as we light it for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. And we light it for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. and for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and of peace, as well as we light it for all forms of new thought. It's that which we practice here at the Center for Spiritual Living, Los Angeles. And in so doing, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. We bring all of that together and declare this virtual candle the healing candle. I invite you to bring it to your mind's eye, and you can state it aloud if you like, or silently if it feels good to you, the names of anyone that you would like to place into this light, the light of the healing candle, so that they may experience in a more expanded awareness than ever before the healing flames of God's eternal love. As we do that, Teresa's going to come onto the screen and take us through the song Calling in the Light.
Calling in the light, calling in the light, calling in the light of love. Calling in the light, calling in the light, calling in the light of love. I am love. I am peace in my heart. I am free. I am spirit. I am soul. All together we are whole. Calling in the light, calling in the light, calling in the light of love. Calling in the light, calling in the light, calling in the light of love. Calling in the light of love.
And so it is. Teresa, I know you did a gig last night. So you feeling the energy and ready for more performance?
Oh, it was a lovely night. It was an outdoor house concert. It was just beautiful. And yes, I am
Good.
ready
I
for.
I love that. I love that. What song do you have for us next?
Oh, I'm so excited. Actually, Farm Aid was yesterday.
I know as we were talking about it, I watched it last night and then was texting with someone and I was like, I was watching, and they were like, what did you do last night? I'm like, oh, I watched Farm Aid. And they're like, oh, I'm not familiar with that. Is that on Netflix? I was like, no, it's not. It's not, it's not, no. Farm Aid. They're like, well, what? Tell me about it. And I was like, oh my God, sometimes like for there to be a world that is just infused with information, it's so interesting to me how some people are not clued in. I won't call them clueless, but yeah. So, but it was fascinating to watch. Not to tail from it was fascinating to watch. And as you and I were talking about, I loved watching Neil Young in a bizarre way, and John Mellencamp, and all kinds of others. Yes,
Now, it's been like over 20 years, right? It's been going on
I
every
think it
year.
was 40 years.
Was it 40? Oh, well,
I think
time.
it's 40 years. I think the first one was in the 80s.
Oh, you're right. And I forget that so long ago.
That does, it's not just 20 years ago.
Doesn't seem that long ago, but okay.
I know, odd, right?
Yeah, it's good. Day
Yeah,
by day, by day, they go by.
yeah, it does.
So this
It
is an
does.
old Chris Christopherson
Uh-huh.
song that it's kind of a little story, but it seemed like it went with your topic today. And in honor of all that, I just,
Good. All right, take it away.
it sounds like Christofferson now, doesn't it? The scene was a small roadside cafe. The waitress was sweeping the floor. Two truck drivers drinking their coffee. Two walkie kids by the door. How much are them candies, they asked her. How much have you got, she replied. We've only a penny between us. Well, them's two for a penny, she lied. And the daylight grew heavy with thunder. The smell of the rain on the wind. And ain't it just like a human? Here comes that rainbow again. One truck driver called to the waitress after the kids went outside. Them candies ain't two for a penny. So what's it to you, she replied. In silence they finished their coffee, got up and nodded goodbye. She called, hey, you left too much money. So what's it to you, they replied. And the daylight grew heavy with thunder, with the smell of the rain on the wind. And ain't it just like a human? Here comes that rainbow again. Ain't it just like a human? Here comes that rainbow again.
How inspiring.
Good.
I love it. The concept of here comes the rainbow again is so touching because it we all can conjure up what that the visual of that, and we all know what a rainbow means to us, and there's always the desire to have the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. So thank you for that, Teresa. Thank you, thank you. Referencing back to Chris Christofferson and our talking about Farm Aid and how time has passed, and yet it seems like yesterday. It reminds me to stay connected to just life itself and to not get attached to the time-space continuum while also honoring and acknowledging it. This morning in the slides that I used for our Lighting the Flames of Faith, which are new to us in the context. I haven't used those slides in a long, long time. And this past week I was cleaning up different electronic files and came across a slideshow from one of the Sundays when we would be at the Harmony Gold Theater when I first stepped into this role for the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles. And I was so touched by those days of the creation of those slides, how things changed so dramatically, excuse me, during the era of COVID when we really went multimedia in regards to our Zoom sessions. These slides were just for the screen in the room, and decided to use one of those presentations for our presentation this morning in my message to us all. And what it reminds me is how things are so timeless in life and yet also appropriately timed when we align our mind with that which is tuning into using our mind in a way that's allowing the blessings that exist in life in all of its forms, facets, and formats to be a tool for learning and growing. That's what I really wanted to say about that. And so I'm going to put this slide on the screen and we're going to move into this message. And so I've adapted some of them, but it is Most of them are original. So I've adapted, obviously, this part where it gives the date. Today, Sunday, September 21st, the last day of summer in the year 2025 in the Northern Hemisphere. Hard to believe, huh? As you know, I like to lay out in the sun a good bit this summer, and I have been, and you can feel how the sun has shifted. And really, I guess the sun hasn't shifted, the earth has shifted, a moment of perspective, right? And when I was there 2 days ago, I kept thinking of our beloved Reverend Lenore and David. Happy birthday, belated birthday, David. But as a monarch butterfly kept flying over me, and I know that they are huge proponents of fostering the good of the monarch butterfly. Good things are happening. Our theme for the month is good things are happening through me, or goodness is happening through me. I love this slide. Good things happen to me every day. It is a reminder, this affirmation, this statement for each of us to use the power that we're imbued with and to see things as good, just as the rainbow, to see the rainbow, even when it hasn't rained, if you will, to begin to train our mind to know that always there is the rainbow, symbolically, metaphorically, and there for us to not only perceive but participate in, as well as the pot of gold, which is the outcome for when we're willing to use our mind, our heart, our soul, our being, our thoughts, our words in ways to propagate a state of mind that reflects good things happen to me every day. This quote is so important for us in regards to this, which is of Shakespeare, of Hamlet. To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles and by opposing end them. To speak or not to speak, that is the question. To give or not to give, that is the question. To be good or not to be good, that is the question, good being a synonym for God. This Hamlet Shakespeare quote rings true for all of this, telling us whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer, which we know it's not, the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, meaning the world of effect that's coming at us, or take arms against a sea of troubles and by opposing end them, meaning taking arms to take a stand in mind against anything that's going on in life that seems to be contrary to our divine nature. My first time of using the qualities today of peace and power and beauty and joy and light and life and love and wisdom. And by not only choosing to know them, but to affirm them, to use our mind to affirm the blessings that exist in life, the rainbows that exist in life, to make a decision that we are that which is greater than our experiences in life. And in so doing, because of creating a state of mind, an awareness, a consciousness that is reflective of our innate nature, as opposed to being measured by the condition or circumstances of events in the life, then the mind itself, when is aligned, well, it's always this case, but because life responds to us by corresponding, but when we desire to have a correspondence that reflects our innate state of mind, our divine nature, then we must be that so that we can experience it. It's important to know how we use our words. They are our tools in life, as referenced earlier. This great quote by Steve Atchison tells us that your words have the power to hurt, to heal, open minds, open hearts, and change the world. Never forget the responsibility you have over the words you speak. And if you look at this image on the screen, it infers that our responsibility over the words we speak is so that we are not harming or hurting others. Quite important. But almost more important, and I'm using that a little broadly, is how we speak so that we hear it ourselves. The most important thing is how are we affecting our own consciousness? And obviously we do have responsibility over what we put out into the world. But today I'm not dismissing that or diminishing it for you and I, but I'm here to remind us to remember the impact we have on ourselves with the words that we speak. Obviously, over the last 10 days or so in our country, there's been a great uproar around words that have been spoken, words that what individuals mean by those words, and then the government taking issue with words that are selective in what others have spoken. And without getting into the realm of free speech, what I want us to remember about is the speech itself that we use is of great value because words have power and they have vibrational frequencies, and we hear and feel them when we speak them. So then what are we called to do? I believe we're called to live in a state of praise to the best of our ability. A state of praise, meaning using our words to lift up not only the world around us, but to lift up our own selves in consciousness, to glorify, as it says in the second part of this definition, God, our source, especially by the attributions of perfection. In other words, much like the song Calling in the Light, to affirm and believe, I am peace. I am light. I am love. I am power. In my heart, I am true. I'm calling in the light. I am beauty. I am joy. And so it goes, and so it goes. Why is that important? It's important because, as we know, and Ernest Holmes teaches us, that the law of life responds to us by corresponding, meaning that when you and I affirm that we are peace, power, beauty, joy, light, life, love, and wisdom, something takes place within us, and the law of life that is impersonal responds to that something that takes place within us, a shift, a recognition, a recollection, a remembrance of who we are as divine beings that is transcendent of all circumstances and all conditions in life, and at the same time is that which contributes in the form of cause to creating experiences in life that reflect our self-identity. And remembering our self-identity is propagated and promoted in how we speak, know, and affirm for ourselves. And so today I invite us all into not only using our words in a new way, but affirming that good is happening through us and praising that that is a reality for ourselves, and to awaken in a new way on the journey of living in a state of praise. Well, how do we do that? Well, the first step is to surrender. Surrender to what? To the power that is within us. To surrender to an acceptance that there is a power that responds to us, and that power within us and its innate nature is peace, power, beauty, joy, light, life, love, and wisdom, and that it is there for the calling in the light. It doesn't change, but when we change our awareness of it and our acceptance of it being who and what we are, then therefore our experience of it changes. So we all know the Serenity Prayer, and it gives us such wisdom, if you will, as it states in the end, when we use it. God, the infinite, impersonal, all-inclusive, creative power, grant me the serenity. In other words, as I open up to a state of serenity, a state of nature, surrendering to its innate nature, the serenity, a state of work, to accept the things I cannot change, one of which is my words have power. Another is that I am peace, power, beauty, joy, light, life, love, and wisdom. Another is that the law of life responds by corresponding. And it's from that field of awareness in mind, I tap into courage to change the things I can. Courage, as I speak about every Sunday, which comes from the Latin word courage, which means to live from the heart, meaning to open up to let love, the self-givingness of spirit, do its thing through us, unencumbered by some desire or need or wish or want to change things that I cannot change. And in so doing, then that opens me, you, us up as an avenue to allow wisdom, one of the qualities of the divines, to rise up and make itself known through us. In other words, that takes us back as a journey to being the vessel of intelligence and wisdom of the divine making itself known through us, but our role is to open. Our role is to open. Our role is to open to it and then to praise it as it happens. Our role here is to train our mind as mental beings to see the good in everything. Now, if you focus in on this beloved little child, in his hand or their hand is a bird. And it's important for us to be open to seeing the good in everything. And it's easy to do that when that's a tiny little, let's believe that's a dove, right? Or a small pigeon. How is it if a huge raptor of prey shows up in your world? Are you willing to see the good in everything then? Well, just the other day, I was sitting at my desk preparing for this message, and out of kind of nowhere, this massive hawk lands on my deck, 10 feet away from where I'm sitting. Not a problem. There's a wall of glass between the hawk and I, a huge raptor, if you will. But what I realized in that moment was the door was open and Sweeney had been laying on the deck. Sweeney didn't respond because she wasn't on the deck. She was on the couch. She was in the house. But I had a moment of fear when I saw that. And then I remembered to train my mind to see the good in everything. I got up and gently closed the door. The bird did not fly away. It stayed there looking at me. And then I took out a book called Animal Speak, the totems of animals, and looked up in the shamanic traditions, what's the meaning of a hawk? And it has deep-rooted meanings of guidance and wisdom and being protected and an overview of life, because so often they're flying looking for the good, which is oftentimes prey in their world. But what I chose to do in that moment was to be open to the symbolism, to be open to seeing good, to having a new perspective. An example for all of us in life that when something shows up that is seemingly not akin to our divine nature, to choose to tune into our divine nature and allow the good that's there to make itself known. I'm not saying that we should stand in front of danger or harm and allow that to have power. What I'm saying is that no matter what's unfolding in life, my objective for us, to the best of our ability, is to train our mind that in each and every situation, while allowing the wisdom to guide us to a higher ground, if you will, to be open to seeing the good in everything. To see the good in everything. And to remember that good things happen to me every day. And the more that we affirm that, the more they will appear. And to remember that we don't need some external magic to transform our life. We carry all the power we need. Our role as we carry this power that we have within us, all that we need inside us already, is to open up to that. Taking us back to the lyrics of the song, it's calling in the light. When we speak of calling in the light in those lyrics, it's not saying that the light is outside of us and we're calling it in. The calling it in is a field of awareness. It's an acceptance of the power that's already there. Dr. Ernest Holmes defines power in this way. He says it's the energy by which everything lives. It's the creative medium of spirit. It's the great mental law of the universe, the universal law of mind. It's the one medium through which all law and all power operate. And humans' creative power is marvelous. For every time they think, they sets the law in motion. Think about that. Every time you think, you set the law in motion. So then what are we called to do? We're called, as we have this information, to intentionally and purposely make a decision today to be a transformative power in the world, and to then transform our world by transforming our internal state. To start by learning to let go of negative self-judgment, and then to replace that with positive and loving thoughts about yourself. Be kind to yourself and watch your external world change. The great words of Anita Moorjani, an author, teacher, and healer. Let's remember that we're here today to be a tool of transformation. And to remember that ignorance stays with us until the day of enlightenment. What is enlightenment? In our philosophy of faith and way of life, we're often taught of enlightenment as an awakening, which is a remembrance that we are one with the sea of consciousness. Tune into what that means for you right now, that you're one with the sea of consciousness. And make a decision and a commitment to no longer be ignorant to that fact, to that spiritual truth. And then to open your vision towards the spirit, the nature of spirit, and allow that to broaden and cast out the image of a no longer useful littleness. In other words, an old idea of who you are as a divine being. Ignorance stays with us until the day of enlightenment. And the day doesn't have to be a day, it can be a moment. Until our vision toward the spirit broadens and casts out the image of a no longer littleness. No longer useful littleness. What we now experience, we may cease experiencing if we have the will and the imagination to set our vision in an opposite direction and hold it there. It's the office of the imagination to set the vision. The will should hold it in place until the creative genius of the inner life transforms the image of limitation and transmutes it into liberty under law. Imagine yourself living in a world where a bird of prey that is steeped in wisdom shows up to teach you something. Imagine that being your reality. How would you act? How would you react? How would you interact? What's wonderful about our teaching and our philosophy and our way of life is that through the imaginative tools that we have of our mind, we can imagine such things happening in our life. And it's through the act of imagining ourselves being prepared and ready, of knowing that good things happen through us, that we are awakening and casting out the spell of ignorance, and that we are changing the way that we've previously experienced life. That is through choosing to affirm and to praise the power that is within us, that we set our minds in motion to be ready for those things when they show up, the bird of prey on the deck, if you will, literally and metaphorically. One of my longtime teachers, and many of yours as well, Dr. David Walker, used to call this action of imagining and affirming and speaking and praising being prayed up. It's about tending to our mind in a new way on this journey of finding personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening and being open to the awakening, feeling more empowered, and staying tuned in to ourselves, uppercase S, on the journey itself. Today, I invite you to invite into your own field of awareness a greater awareness of where you are on your journey of finding personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening. And to ask yourself, are you willing to praise the power in a new way? Are you willing to use your words in a new way to propagate the good that is happening in your world every day? And are you open to experiencing the spiritual awakenings in life without defining what they're supposed to be like? We do that by using our mind and other tools that we have before us. This past week, I was working with a relatively new client, and he was asking me about spiritual mind treatment. And I know that I don't use it as often as we did in years past here. Doesn't mean I don't use it, and doesn't mean I don't understand it, but I think it's important. It's hard to do that in this forum, and we'll do one for us in a moment. But it's important to live to the best of our ability in that practice of spiritual mind treatment, that tool Ernest Holmes gave us, which is an alignment of our consciousness with our divine energy, and to declare and affirm that good is happening through me now, is to be grateful for the awareness that that exists, and then it's to release it and let go it and let spirit do its mystical, creative, energetic transformation and bring forth through us, because the law responds by corresponding experiences and effects in life that is reflective of the state of mind that we've chosen to embody. Holmes says this about giving that spiritual mind treatment, about living in the state of treatment. To affirm this, the words I speak are the law of good, and they will produce the desired result because they are operated on by a power greater than I am. Good alone goes from me, and good alone returns to me. Now take these words in again through the realm of both imagining the impact they have in your life, and that this is a guide for how we're all choosing to live our life from this moment forward to the best of our ability, and layer upon both of those elements an acceptance that because everything is energy, that every spiritual mind treatment that's ever been given has an impact in consciousness that is a tool that is manifesting and propagating this good. And it's there as a foundation for each one of us as we speak our words into existence. And so therefore, we're not alone on this journey. In fact, quite the opposite. We are buoyed up and surrounded and immersed in all of life itself and all that has ever been spoken. And so we choose to tune into the good that has been spoken, knowing that it is made manifest in our world. So we hear this anew. The words I speak are the law of good, good being a synonym for God. And they will produce the desired result because they are operated on by a power greater than I am. Good alone goes from me, and good alone returns to me. Our words matter. I love this image on the screen because it's got a plethora of words for us to choose from. Perseverance, understanding, inspiration, gratitude, support, purpose, empathy, joy, friendship, empowerment, oneness, community, family, peace, bliss, power, openness, vulnerability, discomfort. Each of these words has meaning and a vibratory frequency. What's most important is, what do they mean to you? And are you willing today to consciously choose and use words in your daily navigation of the journey of finding personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening that reflect your divine nature and allow you to rise up and make manifest in your world a reflection of your consciousness? We are living in and using a science, ladies and gentlemen. But it's important to remember that the science of mind isn't an exact science. Why is that of importance? Because it's important to know that when we speak certain words, it doesn't mean they're going to show up in a certain way. But what we do know is that when we tend to the development of a consciousness that reflects our divine nature, and our divine nature means we're imbued with peace and power and beauty and joy and light and life and love and life and wisdom, that when we develop the state of field of awareness of consciousness, that field in and of itself in its broadest spectrum shall be made manifest through us. And then we get to determine, when we perceive that which is happening in our life, what it means to us, and that's what propagates that consciousness expanding or restricting. And that's what we mean by it not being an exact science, but yet it is a science, because change your thinking, change your life. Joel Smith, the great Joel Goldsmith, in The Art of Spiritual Healing, tells us of a way to propagate this good. He says to remember that your world is embodied in your consciousness. It reflects, and he's expanding on this science of mind not being an exact science. It reflects the state of your consciousness, because your consciousness, not your single thoughts, your consciousness governs your world. Your awareness of truth is the law unto your world. Your awareness of truth. But on the other hand, your ignorance of truth likewise becomes a law unto it. Today, let's each affirm and declare and invite in that should we have ignorance, that we call it forth, we acknowledge it, we shine the light upon it, dispel its darkness, and let light rise up and make itself known. Today we create a new world embodied in our consciousness, and we choose that our consciousness does indeed reflect the state of our divine nature, and we are transformative beings, and that the energy of life and all that it is emanating and radiating from us. We're not one or two or sometimes even three-dimensional beings. Remember, we are that which is transcendent of the physical world. And so let's not let our physical world be that which governs our life, but it's through our state of awareness that we are governed. And choose to invite in more and more and more and more and more enlightenment, awakenings, a remembrance that we are one with the sea of consciousness and all that it is. In thinking about the sea of consciousness, I can imagine myself being floating in a sea and all the molecules of water and all the different life forms there and the movement that takes place, because it's not stagnant, it's quite ecstatic, as is the energy that is you and that is me. And however, what's important to remember, just like that sea of consciousness, that traced back to the smallest molecule of water and all the life forms in that sea, is the same energy, the same creative source energy that pulsates through you and through me. And it's alive. It's the power that Holmes talks about in the book. It's the thing that makes everything live. And it's a vibration of energy. Einstein says everything is energy and that's all there is to it, period. Match the frequency of the reality you want. You cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. It's not philosophy. This is physics. And so today, let's you and I decide that in addition to how we use our words and use our frequency, that we make a decision to evolve into a higher consciousness than ever before, to let our mind be blown a little bit and let the outcome of our spiritual healing come out and become a way of life for you and I, and to know that the answer to this journey of spiritual awakening and personal self-empowerment is to praise the power. I am peace, I am power, I am God, I am life, I am light, and for that I am forever grateful. And to remember that today we have before us an opportunity to remember how our consciousness works. Last week I spoke again of this thought process cycle, the thought, the belief, the law, the effect, the experience, the reaction to the affected experience, which takes us back to a thought, which moves into our beliefs, into the creative law, which provides to us an effect and experience which we respond to, we react to, that is now the next thought. Today, let's you and I awaken to this journey and to use this condensed version of Dr. Hawkins' map of consciousness to remember that we need not stay in contracted or destructive energy as we see on the lower level of the map. And to tap into the courage, as I spoke of earlier, that state of transformation of moving from contracted and destructive energy into creative and expansive energy. And to be empowered to open up to transformation and to then allow into our life a heart-centered way of being. It does indeed take courage. It does indeed take neutrality. It does indeed take willingness. And it does indeed take acceptance and reason to be love. Love that is the self-givingness of spirit, whose desire of life is to create more of itself. And it does that through you and through me. Today's the day we praise, to glorify the power, especially by the attributes of its perfection, and to be the peace and to be the power, to be the joy, to be the light, to be the life, to be the love, and to be the wisdom. Today's the day, and so it is. Amen. I'm going to invite Teresa back to take us on a journey of music to wrap all this up. Thank you.
That was beautiful. Thank you. I needed that. Passed through many senseless days and squandered love 1,000 ways. Taken anchor everywhere I go. Been quick to hurt, but heal dropped off the list. Sometimes it was harder and it took me longer. Times I was weak, but I always got stronger. 'Cause sure inspires someday the good catches up. If I give it time, the good catches up. Oh, it's not that far behind. God catches up. And with every act of love, God catches up. God catches up. With every act of love, when I carry none, oh, the good catches up. You don't need a PhD to understand these things you see. All the love that was never found, well, it's still around. Yeah, it's still around. Sometimes it's harder, it might take longer. Sometimes we're weak, we only get stronger. 'Cause it sure inspires someday the good catches up. And if I give it time, the good catches up. And it's not that far behind. Good catches up. Every act of love, the good catches up. You know the good catches up.
What a fabulous song.
Why, thank you.
Where is it from?
It's a fella named Gowan. I think he used to be the singer for Styx or something incongruous,
Hmm.
kind of. But a friend of mine from the Center for Spiritual Living in Santa Clarita said, "Oh, you have to work this song up," and I'm always sure. Isn't it a great
Well, I
song?
love it.
I do
You
too.
and you can I can tell you love it. It's evident in the way that you sing it. Yeah.
It's just it's good to remember,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you just have to, you know, hang out and wait for it.
Yeah. Well, and all of what we address today is important to remember that good's there. Good is there, right? Because we can all get overwhelmed with the effects of the world. So, yeah. So, well, thank you. Thank you for being here today. And I know you're going to take us out with Let There Be Peace in a moment, but thank you. It's always wonderful to have you with us. So, thank you for being here. And
Thank you so much for inviting me.
you're welcome. You're
Always a
welcome. You're welcome.
joy and an inspiration to be
Thank
here.
you.
So,
Thank you.
and I'll sing the peace song, right? Is
In
that
just a bit, yeah, we're going to do some closing remarks and then you'll do that. So thank you all for being here today. May your day be one filled with inspiration, and you shine your light and share your love and shed your ignorance. That's what you need to do. That's what we all should do. So a big thank you to Teresa and to Travis, our audio technician, and to Robert, our support system. And just know that wherever you are, God is, all of you. And so thank you for shining your light. If you'd like to support our community financially, you can go to our website, csl-la.org, and click on donate there, as well as if you would like to support us in any way other than financially, you can find that information there, as well as we're on Instagram and Facebook, as well as our app in the App Store was just updated this week. So feel free to use that. You can also access that for financial donations, or you can mail a check. I'd like for us to hold our dear Jewish brothers and sisters. When we meet in person in our home is at Congregation Kol Ami on La Brea, 1200 North La Brea Avenue. I'd like to hold our Jewish brothers and sisters in consciousness as their New Year's services begin tomorrow night, Rosh Hashanah, and just know that they're all well and healthy and happy and inspired and safe. And so let's all just know that and affirm that. We have a midweek morning meditation that takes place each Wednesday morning. It does so again this Wednesday as well at 8:30 a.m. You can find that information in our newsletter that goes out each week or on our website or the app in the App Store. I'd like to invite you to avail yourself of that, as well as we have a new thought text for the day that goes out each morning. And so you can avail yourself of that as well. I'm going to close with a spiritual mind treatment, and then Teresa's going to come back and take us out with a peace song. And if you're on Zoom, we'll stay on and say a brief hello to each other. And then after that, we will say goodbye. And for those of you on YouTube, we'll say goodbye after the peace song. And so I invite you to close your eyes if that's comfortable and safe for you wherever you may be. And hear these words as I speak them in the I am and the we. And so I affirm for each one of us here and now that ignorance of anything in our mind, heart, soul, and being is being diminished. And we open up and affirm that the divine energy of God is in all of its magnificence and glory, and being expressed by means of you and by me right here and right now. The perfection and the wholeness and the completeness of that which it is my reality, as it is all of our realities. And so from this moment forward, we choose to use language that reflects our divine nature. And we use our power of mind to think in ways that is creative and imaginative of good itself. And so I affirm for each of us a new belief is in place in regards to our power and the presence of the thing itself within us. And we consciously engage in daily activities that reflect who we know ourselves to be as divine beings. And we choose gratitude, and we choose harmony, we choose forgiveness, and we choose high-mindedness. We are evolving beings, consciously awake, alert, and alive, having the courage to live and be anew, and allowing ourselves to be open to the renewal of our awareness, knowing that the inherent nature to the divine that we are never changes, but that which changes is our perspective and awareness and use of it. Today is the day that we are awakened in a new way, letting it be, and so it is. We're going to sing the peace song, Let There Be Peace on Earth, as we take ourselves out from the service today, and then have a fantastic week. Okay? Teresa, take it away.
All righty. Here we go. Y'all sing with me now, wherever you are. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as our power, united all are we. Let us walk with each other, perfect harmony. Yes, peace begins with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment, peace eternally.
Have a fantastic Sunday, everyone.